Penguin Random House Audio presents Out of the Blues by Trudy Nan Boyce. Read for you by Rebecca Lowman. And the days keeps on worrying me. There's a hellhound on my trail. Hellhound on my trail. Robert Johnson. Uncovering. The girl climbed the tree so she could sit in her spot, look out through the limbs and leaves, and pretend about an imaginary dog. When she patted the pecan leaves, they gave off a green, peppery smell. It was like breathing the breath of the tree. The jaggedy streaks of gray bark where she sat were like the tree's hard fur. Wearing conspiratorial smiles, her mother and brother had waved from the car windows, knowing that she had been headed to the tree as they started out the long driveway around the house. Later, she realized, when she saw the note on the table, that he must have thought she'd gone with them, because it wasn't long after the dust from the car settled that the gunshot sounded from the house, and she dropped from the tree, forgetting, almost forever, the longed-for dog. Frantic, she couldn't think how to clear his eyes of the blood. She couldn't leave him to get a cloth. Her shirt? She used her fingers to try to wipe the sticky globs from her father's eyes. His head in her lap, she cried for him to help her know what to do. He was a cop. He should know how to handle this emergency. The gun, black and heavy, lay next to the dusty rose bedskirt. She thought if he could somehow just see, he'd be able to help her. But he quit moving. His groans stopped, and she held his head, blood seeping through her red shorts and into the ruby dahlias and violet peonies embroidered in the rug. And then their return. Their faces as they held the balloons at the door of the room, their fallen faces. And the note left beside the cake for her 10th birthday. No one in her family ever claimed to know where the old steamer trunk had come from. The trunk had been painted over in a flat country blue that had faded to gray, the original color revealed beneath the leather clasps that were now brittle, one completely worn through. Smudged and blurred, some brushstrokes had come through the top layer of paint. St, but the rest was faded. She'd moved the trunk out of the upstairs closet when the carpenters were doing renovations and had been using it as a nightstand beside the downstairs bedroom window. Sometimes, thinking right before she fell asleep that she would get around to opening it, she'd go over the items she remembered might still be in it. Removing the lamp and embroidered runner and letting the metal lock fall, she was eager about the coat. Beneath some quilts and baby clothes, it was there in its original riches box, wrapped in fragile, yellowing tissue. The Atlanta department store had been gone a long time, bought out by Macy's, but the coat still had the tag attached to the sleeve with thread. Looking at herself in the age-flecked floor mirror, Sarah Alt thought that even though she wasn't as tall as her dad, it was still a good fit. 25 years after it was purchased, the tan trench coat now fit her, falling to calf length on her slim 5'9" frame. Her father's coat. One he'd never worn. Welcome to Homicide. Known throughout the department as Rosie, the large man in transition with red-polished nails and long blonde waved hair and wearing a ruffled white blouse sat at the receptionist's desk and buzzed her in. "The code is number 1524, she said, without looking up from the paperback she was reading. "Thanks." Salt held her father's coat as she punched the numbers on the keypad and turned the handle of the inner door to the homicide unit. Rosie mumbled, "Keep your chin up." During the 10 years Salt had been in uniform, a beat cop, she'd been to the unit many times, making statements as the first uniform on murder and assault scenes, providing information from the streets to detectives. But this
Sample complete. Ready to continue?